Bonjour.
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 Bonsoir.
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 Dear friends, we are so fortunate on JCB Live today to have Brenda and Marc Lhomer. Legend in the movie business, icons of Napa and Sonoma, creators of multiple film festivals and movies. One of the movies that changed the wine world, we'll talk about it. And they're with us today because they cannot stop being busy. And guess what they did between COVID and now? They created a new movie. And here we are releasing celebrating it. And this is so exciting. So Brenda and Marc,
I can't.
Oh, very nice.
a little JCB caviar, a new wine for you to taste.
Very nice. Thank you.
So Chardonnay Aligoté from Burgundy, something you've never tried yet.
Just love Burgundy.
Well, we want to have a toast to your talent.
Oh, and for being our inspiration, Joshua.
Well,
honestly.
to you.
Thank you.
So, well, first, cheers and cheers, dear friend. Cheers. JCB
Cheers.
caviar, you must have it.
Oh, this is delicious. Oh my gosh, and it stays on the palate, and then finish is beautiful.
It's like one of Marc's kiss, right?
Oh, just like it.
Stays on the palate.
Lovely
It's
analogy. I like it.
I'll remember that next time I give him a little kiss. Oh, this is delicious.
So, you have so much to tell us. You've
Yum,
been
yum.
quite busy over the last few years.
It's been amazing.
But the first question I really have for you is, how did you fall in love with the movie world and the production world of movie and all that? Because, dear friends, remember, founders of multiple movie festivals, the creator of a famous movie, I will let them tell you what it was because one of my favorite of all. So tell us, how did it start?
You know, when we met in the, this is going to date us, we met in the late 80s in Palo Alto, actually.
Yes.
Mutual friends introduced us, and Marc actually hired me to work for him in a production
scandal
company. It
right
was terribly
out of the box.
scandalous
Yeah.
in Palo Alto. But we both
Terrible.
fell in love with...
You hire her and you marry her. Why
Yes,
not?
right. Worked out for me. But we just loved food and wine and films. We would go to the movies like every weekend. We would watch movies at night. We cooked together, and we started drinking really good wine early on. My dad was a wine collector, and he would give us cases of French wine, which is probably a bad thing to do to give a young person, but we appreciated it. So we just fell in love with the same thing, same interests, and going to the movies and film was just so, it was an addiction. We are movie lovers, not student of films. Would you say that's right?
That's right, yes. And neither of us had gone to film school, but we grew up enjoying film as, the same way most people do, to transport you into some world that you do not inhabit in your everyday. And it's such a lovely thing to enjoy. And finding someone who loved film the way I did growing up, and the food and the wine. And when Brenda and I first met, as she mentioned, we were in Silicon Valley, late 80s, but our dates were always escaping up to Napa and Sonoma.
Oh, yeah. Drinking wine.
Our
and eating.
getaways
Of
were weekends up here. We ended up getting married in Napa Valley.
We got married in Rutherford.
Ooh la la, my favorite town.
We were married.
Across from the winery you just bought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Spencer.
Yeah.
That's right. We were married in the Napa Valley in 91. And interestingly, we were living in Seattle at the time. We'd moved up there, spent the 90s up there. And we came back in 99 and settled in Sonoma.
1 mile from Buena Vista.
Very close to Buena Vista, of course.
Great choice.
And while in Seattle, we really got into their big film festival up there, the Seattle International Film Festival. It's one of the biggest in the country. And you see a lot of very interesting international film. And we come to Sonoma, and there's a little itty-bitty film festival going on. And we were very excited because Sonoma, all these little wine country towns, they're lovely, but there's not that much going on culturally, not like the big cities. And we said, oh, film festival, how great. And unfortunately, we were down here for their 3rd and 4th years. And the poor people who had started it, basically, they weren't really making a go of it, and they just quit. Like they got tired, and they said, "We're giving it up."
And I volunteered to take it over.
Yeah. And Brenda's like, "Oh my God, we can't let the film festival die." So we literally, like, all of a sudden, we sort of following
accidental film festival directors.
Yeah.
Literally
This is
accidental.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But we had business backgrounds. We've both been in high tech and event production, so we had the
Yes.
skills.
And all of a sudden,
We
we're
just
in the
had never
film
done
business. but showing people films year after year, and we decided we would show very uplifting film. We're going to have people eating great food locally, drinking great local wine. We want to show positive, uplifting, inspiring movies. And we had great response from audiences, and we just got the itch to make movies.
We said, if we can run a film festival, we can make a movie.
Maybe we can make movies, right?
That's right.
So we put that out to the universe one day. We mentioned it to a few friends. And we said, hey, we want to make movies. Any stories come across your way, that you think might make sense for us, send it our way. So I get an email one day from an old friend, and he says, stop talking about it, make this movie. And there's a script attached. And it's the screenplay for what became Bottle Shock.
Yeah, I know. It was so fun.
The really fun wine romp of a film about the 1976 Paris tasting when, sorry to say, the California wines beat the French. And it put Napa on the map.
The French deserved it.
At the time. Now, you were in there.
Go deflated a little bit. That's always good.
But it put Napa Valley on the map, and it's a great event. And this guy had written a fantastic,
the script
fun,
is fantastic.
engaging, exciting take on that whole story. And celebrating, he really focused on Chateau Montelena. They won the white. Of course, Stag's Leap won the competition of the reds.
Stag's Leap won silver.
And anyway, we made that movie. It was a perfect film for us to produce. First film.
And I want to commend you, because it's one thing, dear friends, you receive the script, you read a book, but there's a big abyss between the moment you read something and you put it into action and a visual interpretation.
True.
Yeah.
With the actors, with the scenography, with everything else. So how did you go about this? Because Bottle Shock, dear friends, in the world of beverage and wine and phenomenal stories which change really the wine world, is one of those movies. I mean, you've changed the wine world.
People, we'll talk to people today and they'll say, I see it. I watch it once a year. I pull out a great bottle of, Raymond Chardonnay, and I watch the movie.
What else is there?
Nothing else. But it has become a cult film.
That's right.
And at first it wasn't. So it gives me hope that people will, in hard times especially, or difficult, you just want to seek out something that's going to make you think and also make you laugh and make you want to share it with someone that you love. And that movie is that person. It connects people. Yeah. So that was Bottle Shock, and it just got more and more popular. But at the same time, we read this book called Dear Zoe.
Yeah.
This author of Dear Zoe, who lives in Pittsburgh, it's a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania-based story. He had seen Bottle Shock, and he fell in love with it. And he's asking his friends, well, I need to find a producer who will option my book and make it into a movie. Every author wants their book made into a movie.
Of course.
You say this, it's your connection. It was the strangest situation.
Yeah, so, it turns out I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Which is a fabulous city.
Oh my gosh!
It's famous about the river, the Mahogany.
Monongahela, Monongahela, Allegheny. They come together. They form the Ohio.
You go over that bridge. It's
the original
stunning.
gateway to the west, way back in pre-colonial.
I have a great story one day to tell you about a restaurant top at the Mont.
We know the Lamont. I've taken Brenda for drinks. We've had martinis at the bar at the Lamont,
and we love the Pittsburgh Private Club. Which is amazing. What a town!
It's become a very cool town. Can't do much still about the weather, but the food and wine scene is great.
Global warming is on its way.
It's true.
It was 78 degrees on Sunday.
We were back there for the Dear Zoe premiere.
I didn't even have a t-shirt.
It was crazy. So I did grow up there. Didn't know this guy who wrote the book Dear Zoe. He was only a couple years younger than me. But anyway, the guy he was asking to make introductions for him to the film business was somebody that I went to elementary school with, and then all the way through high school. So
it's amazing.
Someone I know really well. Yeah, and it's just classic, Pittsburgh, or really any town, just 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I get an email from my old buddy Carl, and he says, Brenda and you should immediately order this book from Amazon. It's called Dear Zoe. It's short. It's a beautiful little book. He said, I guarantee you it's going to be your next movie.
He knew it.
He was absolutely right. We love the book. The funny thing is, it was the fall of 2008 that we read that book.
And it's November 2022.
Now it's 2022, 14 years later. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, but why not? When it's time, it's time.
Exactly.
I don't think you can go against time, and there's time for the right movie at the right time.
That's right.
And so we optioned it right away, and then Mark went ahead and started adapting the screenplay. He wrote the screenplay. But then we got involved. We took over. We started the Napa Valley Film Festival.
right.
Left Sonoma, started the Napa Valley Film Festival, and 9.5 years went by.
Yeah.
And Mark's script just gathered more layers of dust.
Well, I
over
worked on it in
time.
my free time,
Because
which
you
was
do,
very
It's too
little.
busy.
you always work on a lot of scripts, right?
No, this was the
This was
first
the first.
time,
The first
actually.
time.
It was the first new creative endeavor. You asked about Bottle Shock and producing, and yeah,
We
there's so
didn't
much
write-
involved,
yeah.
but we really learned an incredible amount about production.
Yeah.
But actually writing the screenplay, remember the Bottle Shock script came to us fully written.
Yes.
This was a brand new creative endeavor, and it really was very exciting to get involved in that. And as you know, because you were very supportive of the Napa Valley Film Festival, we were full-time 24/7 on
And
that.
we
So
couldn't have made a movie.
in my
There's no
very,
way.
very spare time,
So explain
I worked
maybe,
on the script.
just to all our friends from all around the world, the Napa Valley Film Festival and what you had phenomenally started. And we hope continues again at some stage because, you know, COVID obviously changes things and priorities of people too. But explain us what you did because, dear friends, wine country is all about culture, whether it's film, music, art, painting, sculpture, you name it, food, hospitality, people together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it works because all those components are together. What you had started, as you know, we were behind you full
Day
force.
one.
Absolutely.
We loved it.
It was fun.
So tell us a little bit about the format and how it was. Because
How it was, because it isn't anymore the way that it was, and you know, it's too bad that it just decided to morph to something else
Yeah.
when we left.
But it may resurrect.
It may, but
Right.
I gotta
Hope
tell-
springs eternal.
I got to tell you though, I mean, there's not a lot of people who would start something with their own money, buy and put all their time into
That's
it.
right.
It really is a complete sacrifice, and it took many years to get to a point where it was well known throughout the country and even internationally, and we had a team all year round. It takes a lot, and
sure.
I just.
But the
I
goal
don't-
was
but
to
the goal was
encourage
to bring it
producers and young entrepreneurs in the
Yeah.
world of
in film.
movies.
Yes, we wanted to celebrate the independent filmmaker who doesn't get a chance to show their movie all over the place
right.
or go in theaters. And we're living that right now.
That's
I
it.
would die to go to a film festival like the one we ran because people
Which aren't really out there.
they're not out there.
No.
We've been to some film festivals with Dear Zoe, our current movie, and there'll be, 25 people in the audience. There's not a lot of organization
That's right.
behind it, and we were really good at the
Well, you had to-
marketing and the organization of it.
Absolutely, and got
So-
all of us as wineries
Yep,
and
and the
restaurants.
Well, and when you
restaurants.
think about the Napa Valley, what was interesting, so we had
So-
that Sonoma Film Festival. It's just the cute little town of Sonoma, one town, with maybe 6 venues, which was great, by the way, a village feel.
Yeah.
You never had to get in your car. You could walk to the different venue. You could crawl to the different venues. You're sipping wine everywhere.
Yeah. Which is
Napa,
great.
Yeah.
Napa Valley has 4 towns. People probably know if you've been out here. Napa, Yountville, St. Helena, Calistoga. It's a 30-mile
It was
long
just
valley
so
south to north.
logistically
None of the
complicated.
towns wanted to be left out.
Yeah.
We basically had to create 4 festival villages. We'd have typically 12 to 13 screening venues going simultaneously
And they were
every
full.
year. And to Brenda's
And they were
point,
full, 'cause we
you
didn't
have the directors out here with their writers, their actors, their producers. Every one of them wants an audience, right? And so we need to make sure, and we did the hard work with all of our winery partners,
You helped.
marketing, making sure that all of those films had a great reception here in the Napa Valley. And we ran Wednesday through Sunday, so we like to call it an extended weekend.
Yeah.
Every November. It was a really fantastic event, and it ran from 2010 through 2018 under
That
our
was our last
direction.
one.
And fortunately, while we stepped off, and it was not a very happy stepping off, which is okay, but it did free us up
Yeah,
to
silver
make
lining.
the new movie in
That
2019.
was a silver
And we
lining.
really needed a completely free
Yeah, we
year
needed to
right.
get completely
to
out.
Well, you cannot
put
create
all
a
the
movie of that
pieces
caliber
together.
Yeah.
without freeing your
Yes,
mind. And,
yes.
and when you say you were 24/7, I think you were 30 times 8.
Yeah,
I know.
They were everywhere.
It's true.
And
Almost had your schedule.
no, but it was so exciting.
It was a fun time. And we
And
did.
it brought a lot of other people
It did.
that we did not know
Yeah.
into wine and people who were not exposed to wine. So there was a lot of great benefits.
And we met,
amazing.
and I look back at it, and I think about all the friendships we made,
Yes.
the partnerships we
Yes.
have that will hopefully never go away.
For
even
sure
if we're
not.
not doing
Well,
that.
look at where we are.
I know, and we met so many inspirational filmmakers out there. It gave us kind of a kick in the tail on
Yes.
that we can do this too, even without being in theaters and having big splashy. We're not Black Adam. We're not, what's it?
The new Black Panther movie is coming.
We're not a
Yeah, but
we're a
those,
small
it's different
film.
style of movies.
It's a small drama,
Which
that
is
has a
what we
heart.
were committed to supporting all along.
Yes, so yeah.
The independent films made outside the studio system, and in particular, as I said earlier, beautiful kind of inspirational stories, even stories that might start from a sad premise.
Yes, so tell
like
us about.
Dear Zoe.
We're gonna. Now we celebrated with bubbles. We're gonna go deep. And
There we go.
Maybe darker.
A little darker.
Yes, a little
That is
darker.
actually very appropriate.
Yes, Pinot Noir Buena Vista. Your neighbor.
Very
We're a mile
nice.
away.
Very nice.
We are so lucky to live close to you here, but we're literally a mile away from one of the most beautiful wineries in the world.
Well,
You've done an extraordinary
and with
job.
such incredible history.
I
And
know.
we honored to have you with us, next to us at all time, because we feel your energy, your vibration, your vision, and your creative
Very
spirit.
nice.
And your
Thank you.
look, the ring of the glasses.
Ooh.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The bells of Zoe are ringing.
Oh my gosh. Your Pinot is that is delicious. It would be really tough to, if you
I-
had Deloach
Velvety.
and Raymond, Deloach and Boisset and Buena Vista next to each other,
It would be difficult.
one hell of a tasting.
It'd be
We would never leave.
I would never leave.
Fantastic.
Throw a little caviar maybe, but oh my God.
Oh, that we
this
can
is
arrange.
delicate and lovely.
Thank you.
So how did this come to be then?
Yeah,
So-
tell us
so-
how this come to be and
Well,
the
Dear Zoe.
storyline, because
So we optioned the book and then he wrote the screenplay, but then all those years passed. So.
Right. Well, so this author, Philip Beard, is the
Yep.
name of the author. Yeah, a guy from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He wrote this beautiful book, Dear Zoe. He conceived of a story about a family who loses their youngest of three girls on the morning of 9/11, 2001, but in Pittsburgh, unrelated to the terrorist attacks. They have a 16-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. The 16-year-old, they're all from the same mom. The little girls, though, are from the dad that's now in the home. The 16-year-old had
Stepdad.
an original dad from the wrong side of the tracks where her mom grew up. So anyway, the story starts off, and like I said, a very sad premise. But what the author was very interested in exploring was going on a journey with the 16-year-old, the oldest, as she basically over the next year, in the aftermath of 9/11, basically tries to figure out how to put the pieces of her life back together, which basically have been exploded like the Twin Towers in New York, right? They're her perfect little life with mom and stepdad and her two little adorable, half-sisters who she loved dearly, exploded. So he writes this book as a single long letter written by Tess, the 16-year-old, to dead little Zoe, the 3-year-old, a year after she's been gone, and basically telling her about the year she's been through and their family have been through. That's the book.
Fascinating.
And it's a letter. It's 190-page letter.
And it's incredible. This at the time the guy was 45 years old, and he wrote the entire book in the voice of a 16-year-old
and he
girl.
wrote it for his stepdaughter. He was literally trying to repair their relationship by writing this book for her. It was
So he had a beautiful personal
feat.
motivation, clearly.
which many of us have gone through for sure.
So
and I'm
many
sure
of these
many
things.
people can identify themselves to some of the parts of that letter.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Oh, God. And then it's beautiful because, like I said, it's a sad premise, but Tess initially, so let's think about her. She's extremely upset. Her little sister is gone. She's really angry that 9/11 is stealing all the headlines,
Yes.
that everybody's focused on 9/11. She wants everyone focused on their family and their problems, right? But they're not. So they feel like overshadowed, right? Of the small personal tragedy, overshadowed by global events. And then she's also feeling guilty because you have a sense, a little whiff at the beginning of the film and of the book that she feels she had something to do
And you don't
with
find out until the end.
what happened to little Zoe. And there is a big reveal at the end, so we won't give that away. So she has this sort of sea of emotions, right? That are, and she's, she's hormonal. She's a teenage girl. She's like boy crazy. And so her first reaction, well, generally things like this happen, and all this support comes and surrounds the family, and they go to grief counseling. Well, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. She wants to run as far the other direction as possible, which
To be
means
expected.
she ends up running across town from the comfortable neighborhood they live in to the really crappy old mill town where her biological dad lives, where she normally would never be caught dead.
Back to the source.
Yes.
Right.
And, they go from, I like to say it this way, they go from this beautiful leafy green neighborhood where nothing bad should ever happen until it does. And she goes to the crappy neighborhood where bad things happen all the time. And there, in our story, beautiful things start to happen.
it's
This
magic.
beautiful relationship
She falls
starts to
in love.
flower.
Yep.
The boy next door.
I'm
yes.
so insightful.
It's all right. And her dad, they repair their relationship.
They have a wonderful
They
relationship.
provide some space for her to really process her emotions. And you ride along on this journey. It is so beautiful.
And it's funny, it's warm, it's inspirational,
Yeah.
it's authentic.
This is
It's-
brilliant.
It's a really lovely
So did
story.
you change a little bit the original movie or not
He
really?
had to really open up the novel.
The adaptation is like,
That
what
was-
are we going to do with
you
this?
can't just have a narrated letter.
Yeah, it's a narrated letter. What's she just going to be sitting at her desk in her bedroom, writing the Dear Zoe? So we just completely unpacked the
He
letter.
literally
That would not last 90 minutes.
No.
he created all these new scenes and storylines and connections.
Oh, we just cinematically show the
Yeah.
contents of the
Yeah.
letter in forward motion. We go from the beginning of the story all the way
chronological
through the year, and really taking her on that very classic sort of hero's journey. It's a classic story. And off she goes into the wilds, and there are sort of scary elements, and there are people that help her along the way. And at the end of her journey, she returns home. It's actually a very classic.
The
it's
ending
almost
is so,
like the
Kleenex,
Odysseus.
spring
It's
Kleenex,
Greek
Kleenex.
myth. She returns home, and
Yeah.
she's able now to
It's beautiful.
begin participating with her family in a healthy healing process, a healthy grieving process. So,
So
it's a
exciting.
beautiful,
It's beautiful
beautiful
film.
story.
And we
So
can
we
all identify ourselves.
It's
with
very relatable.
So what's your big takeaway you want all the people watching?
Well,
the
we've
movie?
just we released the film on November 4th.
Yeah.
And what we've found in showing it to audiences, we've played some theaters, we played some film festivals, and every single person we've talked to has said, "Oh my God, thank you for this movie. I could relate to XYZ part of
Yeah.
it. I just lost someone I love, or I'm dealing with a teenage daughter who's going through some crazy times and
Right.
is
We
making
know
the
that.
wrong choices." Everybody has said it's relatable.
Yeah.
And that is the most satisfying thing we could possibly hope for, because movie isn't going to make any money, and we did it all ourselves. We're the lead
Wow.
producers. We financed it. We cast it. We made every decision, which we had
That's
never. It was
amazing.
really exciting
So-
to be in charge.
Which we should talk about the cast. a
Yeah,
bit,
Oh,
give
the
because
us-
casting.
Well,
Oh my
as you
God.
explain us to casting, I think it would be fascinating for everybody to be explained by you how you start a movie.
Well, first off, in our case, we optioned a book.
Yeah.
Then hopefully other people who do this, if you can option an article in the New York Times that you think
Yeah.
is an interesting story, then you find out who that author is and you negotiate terms, but you get it into your own hands. You own
Okay.
it. So that was a process. And then once we were able to actually make the movie or start it, which was beginning of 2019, you go into what they call pre-production. And we spent weeks in LA lining up all of our production crew, like who's going to do the costumes, then production design, who is going to be our director, who's our casting director. So all that work happened in LA. We just went back and forth from Sonoma to LA. And then in the summer,
Which you knew that world already quite well.
we knew the pieces we needed to put together.
Yeah.
There were certain things we didn't
we
know
were
how to
definitely
do.
learning on
And
the
we
job.
got
continuing
advice.
a lot of
You-
learning.
I mean, opening
Yes.
up bank accounts, figuring out the budget, raising the money, which it's hard to do. That's why
I said,
we
"Hey, Bren,
finish
you
it up
got
with
some money?"
things
She's like,
ourselves.
"Yeah, you got some money." We did this one ourselves.
Let's mortgage our house. But that's what a lot of filmmakers do, and that's why kind of
We
back-
were so passionate about
We
this
wanted to make
project.
it.
We were just gonna do it.
Yep,
It
no
didn't
matter what it
You
matter.
didn't have to sell a wine cellar. right?
No, it didn't.
No.
No, yeah. It was,
Okay,
No,
good.
we have
We-
too much surrealist in our own
Ah, good.
Oh my God, which we have to drink soon. So anyway, we then.
But it will keep getting better.
I
you
know.
that.
So-
I know.
someone keeps saying.
I keep saying.
So in the summer
we
of-
have those beautiful collector bottles.
We do.
in
Thank
our
you.
collection.
So in August of 2019, we moved to Pittsburgh. We rented an apartment. We
Really?
moved our LA-based director there. We had most of our production heads were from LA, some were from Pittsburgh, and then we started casting extras. All the stuff that needs to happen. You need about a 6 to 8, preferably 10 weeks in what they call Pre-production. That's the pre-production. Sorry, the first segment was development.
Yeah.
Then once we're there, it's pre-production, and then we just
Figuring out all the locations,
where are the
which was really fun
locations?
for me because, of course, I
Oh,
grew
he
up in
picked all the
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
so
so you knew
I got to
well.
pick all the locations.
Oh,
which
there's
was
the amusement
fantastic.
park. I want to use the amusement park that I used to go to as a little kid. There's a scene in it.
Emotional for you.
Literally
Well,
a roller coaster.
Do you appear in the movie?
Yeah, no,
No.
I kept myself out of the movie. Although it's a fun party game, we should say for everybody out there,
Oh, this is so
see if
embarrassing.
you can find where Brenda appears in the movie because it's by accident, and we won't
Yeah.
say any more.
I'll just say
That's
that
just very funny.
The film, the story takes place in the summer of 2002 when Tess, this teenager, is living with her father, her biological father, and falling in love with the boy next door. It's the summer. Now we're filming in October and November. It's freezing
In Pittsburgh.
and all our actors are running around in like little skimpy outfits, just like it's so cold, I'm gonna die. And the wardrobe people are putting furs on them or fake furs on them during takes, but. Yeah, it was one night at the amusement park. I was in my Napa Valley Film Festival jacket, my wool hat, on my phone. Now, an iPhone. Now, in 2002, you didn't have iPhones. And I was standing there on set, didn't realize that we were rolling. And so everyone else is in summer clothes.
Oops.
I love it.
Yeah, anyway, maybe you can spot
I want
me.
to see it.
Maybe you can spot a brief glimpse.
Now I
of,
get
a
anxious
brief
too.
glimpse of Brenda.
So-
but before we
Yeah.
ended up
So we find
there,
that was embarrassing.
of course, the two most important things are the choice of your director.
Yes.
And then your cast.
cast.
That's the two most important things. And then, yes, of course, you have to have the money to make it. But what was fantastic about everything we've done, both in the making of Bottle Shock and then the making of Dear Zoe and whatever our next film might be, by running film festivals annually, we meet directors every year.
Yeah.
And it's a great test because we're seeing their previous film, we're showcasing it, we know we like it, we've picked it, and then we see whether the audience respond to
Yeah.
it. So
So
we
we
always
knew-
had our
yeah.
pick of directors. We picked a wonderful female director for this film. Gren Wells is her name. Her film, The Road Within, played the 2014 Napa Valley Film Festival.
Wow.
It was received very well. So that was our director. And then in the casting, this movie is completely
It's all
dependent
about the
on
16-year-old
Tess.
girl.
You have to have the
We couldn't
perfect
cast
16-year-old
anyone else until we
Tess.
had her.
And
I've
as you-
seen her, dear friends, and you'll see her shortly.
Oh, she's so
We're going to show you at the end of this amazing moment together. We're going to show you a little bit of a preview. You'll
Yeah,
see.
Oh,
the
that's
show the
great.
trailer
That's
would be
great.
great.
Stunning.
She
So
is.
we
She's
did
phenomenal.
not know she's become a big deal.
She's now really famous.
But at the time, we had no idea who she
We
was.
cast
But
her in May or June of 2019.
her name is Sadie Sink. She plays Max on Stranger Things. Millions know her. Millions love her. She was in Taylor Swift's new short film, All Too Well.
Yep.
And she has become such a big deal now. But she was in the spring of 2019. You know, we didn't
She
know
had to
who
audition
she
for
was.
us.
She auditioned like anybody
She would never
else.
have to audition anywhere.
But she was
anywhere now.
absolutely the
She
perfect
was incredible.
Tess. And then we cast around her
Yeah.
for Theo Rossi as her dad, and Jessica Capshaw as her mom, and Justin Bartha as her stepdad. Little Vivian Lyra Blair
Oh.
as the 6-year-old middle sister.
She was
You
astonishing.
know, just a lovely young gal. She's now the new young Princess Leia in
On
the
Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars. Who knew?
I'm like,
we would have
that's
never
Viv. What's
predicted
Viv
that.
doing there?
Everybody, Brenda and Mark touches become something.
It's
just
magic.
couldn't
Can you
believe it.
please touch me?
Yeah, it's magic.
I have a chance.
No,
Right?
you have-
And then I think a really fun story is our director was not happy with all the hot young guys from
Oh.
Hollywood who were trying out
we were about to film
for Jimmy,
and we were
the
about
love
to shoot,
interest.
and then we had one more week to
And she
shoot.
didn't like any of the guys. They're all, and we agreed they were
They were-
overacting. It just seemed, you could see the acting.
Yeah.
So she got fed up and she said, "All right, that's it. I'm going online. I'm going to Google hot young hip hop artists." And she finds like 7 pages in a picture of this
rapper
guy
from Chicago.
from Chicago, and
He's
she's
phenomenal.
like, "Oh my God, I love this guy's look." And she gets in touch with him through her agency and then his music. He's not an actor.
No,
he's a
never
musician.
acted in his life.
She gets, they do a FaceTime video meet. She sends him the script. They read a couple scenes. He said, "You want to act?" He said, "I'll give it a try." 2 days later, he's on a plane. He's in Pittsburgh.
on set.
He's our Jimmy, and their chemistry, was incredible.
over the top. They were
Did
incredible.
they
together.
have a real kiss?
Oh, well,
No,
in the
they
movie,
kissed
in
a lot.
the movie, sure. In the movie,
Yeah.
sure. And then the best part is we shot
He's
his
wonderful.
films. His scenes were the first few weeks, and then there were a couple more weeks to go.
Because everything is filmed
He would normally
outside
have
of
left.
order, not in order.
Right, he would normally have left and gone home, but he said, "No, I've fallen in love with Pittsburgh.
He's like,
I
Brenda
love
and
the
Marc,
story.
can I stay?
I want to learn I want to be on set every day and just watch this." But he said, "And in the meantime, I have an idea for a great song for the end credits." You know, movies, you typically have a great song
You'd
at
love
the
the
end.
song. It's beautiful.
And he wrote the most beautiful
love song.
original song.
We'll play it.
We
We'll
should,
play it.
yes,
It's
you should
beautiful.
play it, and everybody should see it. And oh my God, he's great. His name's Kwaku Collins.
He came to the premiere last week,
We
as
just-
did Sadie Sink. We had our premiere on November 2nd in Pittsburgh. They were on the red carpet together. It was really amazing. And he's just
So how do you feel about creating this new movie? I
Well,
mean, it's pretty
very
It's
exciting.
exciting.
Phenomenal.
It's
Yeah,
also
yeah, it
very
is.
scary because a lot of independent filmmakers,
Yeah.
like the ones we were supporting for all those years, don't get a buyer.
Yeah.
And we tried to sell it, and we didn't get a buyer. Buyers are very
For
gun
now,
shy.
it just came out.
No.
a few days
You try to
ago.
get a buyer so that you don't have to distribute it yourself. You try
Okay.
to get.
They were basically
you know,
putting the movie out into the world, our own, which,
We're
by the
doing
way,
it
is the
ourselves.
same thing we did with
with
Bottle
Bottle Shock.
Shock.
Bottle
Yeah.
Shock never had a buyer.
And it's okay. Bottle Shock's done great. And so I'm sure Dear Zoe will do great too.
And
That's
that's
right.
the
Yeah.
challenge is that we need, with the help of friends, to get the word out about
Yeah.
it, because there is no theatrical and there's no buyer putting out big advertisements. It's just us through social media, through word of mouth, through asking everybody we know, rent it on iTunes, rent it
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Perfect.
It's available
and you-
everywhere.
Well, dear
Available
friends, we're going to
everywhere.
give you all the links. Click, click, click.
Yep.
You rent it on iTunes, and we're going to help.
Rate it,
Brenda and
review
Marc.
it, and
Yes.
and let the world know that there's a movie out there that touches your soul,
For
that you
sure.
can relate to, that you will walk out feeling like, wow, I am so happy to be alive, and I'm going to go hug the ones I love even harder. That's what this movie will do.
What a takeaway.
It's
And it's a perfect time now. Thanks.
Holidays.
the holiday
It's a great
times are
gift.
perfect for Dear
Yeah.
Zoe.
It's like
Yeah.
$6.99.
Maybe
No.
we should offer it with a glass of Buena Vista.
Ooh.
What about that?
I think so.
Do they drink wine
And we
in
have
the movie?
DVD. No, they drink Iron City beer.
Yeah, this
It's
is
in
a Pittsburgh
forgive
film.
you.
It's very.
We forgive you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, there's
2002.
a lot of beer drinking, but
lot
not
of
a lot of wine
So
drinking.
if because obviously we're gonna watch it, so which wine shall we drink?
Oh, that's a good question.
Shall we do Buena Vista Pinot?
I would actually, if I were watching the movie, if I were renting it, I would do a big, huge, beautiful bucket of truffle popcorn
Yes.
with the Pinot.
Ooh,
I think
ooh la
that's a
la.
great
I
idea.
would do that.
I think we need a little more.
I would do
then.
that.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a
want
great
the
idea.
popcorn. Can we get the popcorn after
of
this?
course,
Right?
of course. Well, we could do popcorn caviar.
Oh God, that
What
would be
about
amazing.
that?
That would be amazing.
I know it's season of
You
truffles
can't really
coming
go
up.
wrong.
I hope people though do think about the holiday season and what kind of movies, what kind of
Yeah.
stories do you want to share with your friends and your family? Because it's just the big action films or the horror films and all the films that make all the money, they're not the films that I
No.
think really move you. So I hope that people will
That's for sure not.
make that choice over the holidays.
So what is the movie now that you haven't done you wish to do?
He wrote a new screenplay. He's got to
so fun.
stop writing.
Well, it's
I wanna go
very,
travel.
It's a very fun project, So people are, of course, surprised when they hear about Dear Zoe because they know Bottle Shock. They know
Yeah.
we live here in the wine country. They're like, we don't understand this coming of age story. It sounds lovely, but why are you guys and why
Yeah.
that? They don't know that I'm from Pittsburgh and they don't know the backstory.
Well, if we do now, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the new
Yeah.
project is a return to the wine
Oh,
world.
yes, baby.
Oh,
Yes.
your fans out there.
Oh my gosh!
love this
People
story.
are gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Well, hopefully we in it. Oh,
You absolutely, there's,
actually,
you could be.
yeah.
You could be in
Yeah.
it. We'll be
You'll be
talking.
in it.
We'll be definitely talking. So, much like Dear Zoe started with an author with a book who saw Bottle Shock and wanted
Yeah.
his
Oh,
book
can we
turned into a
press
movie,
that?
got introduced. During COVID, while we were waiting for the opportunity to release Dear Zoe, so a year and a half ago, we were just sitting on Dear Zoe. It
was
was
finished.
finished, but we wanted to
But we
release.
wanted to
We wanted to
release
have a big premiere in
of course.
Pittsburgh.
And at the right time.
And we couldn't
Yeah,
do it last
yeah.
fall with the Delta
No.
variant
Nope.
and all that.
Nope.
So I got approached by a woman who has a
That-
new book.
That always happens to you. Besides Brenda,
I have
they
to
always
fight them
approach
off.
it,
Fight them off.
I'm going to help you next time.
It
I'm going
ne-
to wear my Dear Zoe
There you
hat.
are. There you go.
And I'm going to fight.
Yeah, it never happens. But
Who are
anyway,
you?
I get approached by a woman who has a new book, not yet published. So this is great.
This is a
An
key thing.
unpublished
If
manuscript.
someone wants to option a book or a manuscript, option something unpublished.
It's fantastic.
That's the way you get
before,
control faster.
the bigger folks get their hands
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
And she has written this incredible thriller
Ooh.
set in the world of high-end wine collecting and wine auctions
And wine forgery.
but it involves all kinds of bad goings on.
There's murder. There's
it's really good.
There's a lot
It's
of
really
high-end
good.
wine drinking. There's a villain who's a wine collector, but he's really
Great
running
villain.
a Ponzi scheme, and he's got all this fake wine from Thomas Jefferson, and then one bottle of real Thomas Jefferson wine.
It's
it's
good
real
stuff.
fun
It's
story.
based on real events.
Yep.
But she's created a fictional story. She calls her book The Wine Forger. But I have written the screenplay because I had
really
nothing else to do last
Fantastic.
spring. And we are going to make, and she's really excited to
That
see
has a lot
her
of legs.
book turned
I
into
think
a
Stanley
big
Tucci
future
is maybe
film.
the villain, or who else were we thinking? Brian
Cranston, Bill
Cranston.
Murray,
Bill Murray would be
Michael
great.
Keaton. No, it's a fantastic role for the villain, a guy in his late 60s, 70 years old or so, the most amazing wine cellar in the world, right? And this young guy, poor young guy in his 20s, again, from the wrong side of the tracks, no formal training, but one of these super tasters.
Yeah.
And he gets
Natural
seduced
song.
into this world. He gets a little bit of training, and he gets placed in as the villain's new cellar master. He thinks he's landed his dream job until all the layers of the onion get peeled back.
And he
it's
realizes if he
all
doesn't
proved
get
to be
out, he's
false.
dead.
And he's trying
And
to
we
figure
know
out how to
there's
get out alive.
some real story that came out recently on that.
It's
topic.
all based on the real stuff.
It's crazy.
But this is a fun fictional take on that. And she just wrote such a great story. So now we're hoping this will be our next movie.
We're trying to find. So this
it's a
isn't
big-
something we'd make ourselves.
It's a big project.
Like we would sell it to a studio, or
Yes.
find the right director that could then take it to the studio that he or she would work.
I would
in.
see you running that one
But that-
big time because it's the wine country.
Yes.
It's your
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
It's where you are.
Yeah.
It's what
Hopefully,
you
we
know.
aren't drinking forged wines.
Yeah,
You know?
but I could guarantee this is not Thomas
forged.
Oh,
Jefferson
very good.
fake wine.
This is
This is
amazing.
Augustin Harasti. More importantly,
Oh, we love it.
created
love the Harasti.
Napa Valley and Sonoma.
The Count.
The Count.
We
I
love
know.
it.
I love
the
the
Count
stories.
himself.
Yes.
Purple gold.
Fantastic.
Purple gold.
Purple Gold. I love that story.
Oh yeah.
I can't hear that story enough. I just love the history.
Well, that needs to be one day a movie too.
Yeah.
It does. Oh
You're
my
on a
gosh.
roll.
I know. It's
Bottle
exciting.
Shock,
Dear Zoe.
Dear Zoe.
and now maybe the wine.
The
Forger.
Wine Forgery.
Yeah, and now you'll like this. So I decided
Oh.
Wine Forger. It's a little too
He wants to change
specific,
the name.
right? We want this is going to be everyone's going to love this movie. It's a thriller, right? Doesn't matter that it's wine, but we all love that it's wine, right? So my screenplay, I'm calling it Almost Perfect, which I love, and I'll tell you a little
like that.
insight, right? Like the ring of it. And I was thinking to myself, okay, forgeries, of course, forgers, they're going for perfection, right? They don't
Yes.
want to get caught. But there's no dramatic interest if it's perfect because there's no chance of getting caught. But if it's almost perfect, there's drama.
I love it.
You might get caught. Anyway, it's so fun.
I love it. A glass is
This is
almost
just so
empty,
good.
so, I
Oh
gotta
my
be
gosh.
careful as we get to perfection.
Love it.
But this is great that you
It's
just
exciting.
releasing a new movie,
Really
and you're
excited.
already working on a new one. That's very cool.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
If
Never
you-
a dull moment.
And if there's
Yes.
stories that we're going to be seeking those new stories out, whether we make something ourselves or we're connectors to somebody
Yes.
else who can make it.
For sure.
We need to keep in touch. You hear about new stories every day.
All the
you know?
time.
And then you could be a movie producer with us.
Well, here we go.
There you go.
Ooh la la. We knew how to lose a lot of money when you get in the wine business. Now you
Even
amplify it
more.
in the movie business.
Exactly. You definitely don't go into it to
yes,
make money.
but all for
No,
the arts, as
no.
you said, all for the culture.
In many ways, it's so important, and
Yeah.
in many ways, your incredible talent, your phenomenal magnetic personalities, as you all saw, why it's so important to encourage that in the wine country and to create new movies. And frankly, I love what you've said. All those big power, huge production movies of monsters and villain. It's nice, but where's romance? Where's life? Where's daily life? Where's
That's
interpretation?
exactly. Where's the character-driven story?
That's it.
It's not out there much. But there are a lot of independent filmmakers like us who are making those movies, and they're just dying to get them seen. And maybe something that we can do in our older years here is maybe we can be consultants for some of
That's
these
right.
filmmakers and help student filmmakers
sure.
do their projects and get funded and follow their dreams, and then we can help other filmmakers who don't know how to get their films
That's
out there.
right.
Well, do what we've did. You do your own marketing campaign. You put it up on iTunes and you tell every person you know in the country, go see it, tell your friends, share a bottle of wine, watch it together.
And now, dear friends, you're going to have to click here below, and you're going to be able to watch the trailer. It's coming right now after our interview. And then you'll be able to purchase the movie on...
Or rent or purchase on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, any video on demand platform.
I love it.
Not digital. Video on demand. That's video and digital.
We're drinking some
Smushed
wine
together.
We'll have it at the veteran
blame that
home
on
too.
you.
Where I
Yeah.
live.
Right, that's awesome.
Well,
So
congratulations again.
Cheers.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Another
much.
Bottle Shock, multiple film festivals, Sonoma, Napa,
And now Dear
Dear Zoe, dear friend Brenda, Marc Lhomer. Unbelievable. So thrilled. Welcome back to Napa Valley.
Thank you
We
so
love
much.
that part.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Zoe, Zoe.